The light tank Mark II stands as a testament to willpower in the face of adversity. Despite the sheer failure of the light tank Mark I, Brittanic Arms was undeterred from continuing with its tank program, in vague hopes and an attempt to reverse fortunes. A revised and improved design was created based on the Mark I. In 1934, the prototype was ready, and Britannic was certain that this one would be a winner. With an improved hull, stronger engine, and punchier gun, this tank would surely undo the sins of its predecessor. That didn't happen. Whilst it was improved on paper, it was still unusably slow, its armour was the same as on the Mark I, and the new main cannon proved troublesome. In the end, the Mark II fell flat and was rejected for a multitude of reasons. In addition, it made only minimal sales abroad. As for its eventual service record, only 4 of the tanks saw combat, in which they didn't really do all that much, and thus this tank was quickly forgotten about. Now that my limited writing chops are exhausted, we can look at the specifics. The light tank Mark II was my second tank, and as the history segment alluded to, this was a genuine attempt to improve upon the Mark I, but I didn't really get that result. I'm not sure how, but it was near enough the same stats as the Mark I, so it's not much of an upgrade, unfortunately. But oh well, that's the course of development, right? Onto our front plate, we can see the same layout as the Mark I. However, the interesting change is on the inside. The engine and transmission have been moved to the rear in a more traditional layout. The main reason behind this was to hopefully improve the top speed of a larger engine which needed more space. In what used to be the engine space, a new crew member was added to operate a basic radio. For those in the know, British tanks typically had their radio operated by the commander, and in my eyes, that's another contributing factor as to why the Mark II was rejected. Onto the turret, and the most immediately noticeable feature are the larger size, lack of the rail attachment, and the bigger gun. All of these showcase the primary improvements made to the Mark II. However, once again, the deliberate as well as unintentional design choices mean that the gun is an improvement, but it's certainly no world beater. That just about sums up this turret. Onto the small things. For example, the tail has been removed, due to the lengthened hull allowing the tank to actually cross trenches. Another change was the addition of a second return roller and a revised sprocket. Lastly, vision slots on the left and the right of the hull for the driver and radio operator were added. In conclusion, I am quite content with how the Mark II ended up. It's certainly not the best, but once again, that was never the point. I find it more enjoyable to make tanks with some flaws, rather than perfect fighting vehicles. To that end, the Mark II is successful. I don't have much more to say, so I'll conclude here. Thank you all very much for watching, and have a good day.